Tai'Shar YouTube, I'm James from wheeloftime, and this is a bit of a new series, so I'm just going to give a brief overview before I get into it. But basically, I'm going to go through series 1 of the wheeloftime TV show and rewatch it all, because I made a little poll of what content people wanted to see on the channel next, and along with that, people were wanting season 2 predictions, so I thought in order to refresh myself so I can make some season 2 predictions, I should probably go back and rewatch the first season anyway, and if I'm watching the first season again anyway, why the hell not record it, and go through and point out all the little details and things that I think people missed the first time they watched it, if they're not necessarily a huge wheeloftime fan, or even if you are a massive wheeloftime fan like me, you might still have missed some things that I spotted, and vice versa, so let me know in the comments if you spotted anything that I missed. But yeah, we're going to get into the first episode, which I'm pretty excited for. I didn't have original reactions on the channel because I'd seen these like as they came out on TV, so I wasn't recording at the time. But this is Leave Taking, episode 1 of Amazon Prime and Sony's The Wheel of Time. Oh, and just to do a little spoiler warning, I think this should be safe if you have seen the full first season. If you want to read the books but haven't yet, then maybe stay away from this. If you've read like the first book at least, then this is totally safe for you, especially if you've read the first 2, 3. I can't imagine myself talking about anything beyond that, but it's probably just like book 1 at the most, spoilers. So yeah, let's jump into it.
The seas boiled, mountains were swallowed up, cities burned.
Actually, it looks like a copy of the map from the books. Oh, and I have to point that out, because like,
mountains were swallowed up, cities burned.
That's the Angreal that's used in the 8th episode that everyone's like, ah, MacGuffin, it's right there. So it's shown in like the first 31 seconds of the show. I'm not saying that means it wasn't just introduced at the last minute, because it really was, but it's cool that they teased it this early on even, I think.
Before the dark does.
Hang on, I've just noticed that.
The only thing...
They're in the White Tower, right? And there's horses inside.
We know for certain is that this child is coming of age now, and we must find them.
We've got horses inside the tower. That's crazy. Oh, you guys probably can't.
Is that this child?
There we go. We got these horses back here.
Before the dark does.
I don't really get why they didn't show Weaves there. I guess because we're in his head, which makes sense. Like partially.
We can't die like this.
I mean, it's also just budget.
You can fight them. Use it.
You should thank
So for those people who are like confused as hell as what was actually going on here when they watch this, this is obviously the gentleman that comes later and happens to log in.
Women alone.
But not everything that she's saying right now is true. She might think it's true.
Please.
But
No.
Sisters.
It's not the men that make it filthy, it's the Dark One that made it tainted.
What's coming?
Yes, sir. I love this shot. Also, this comes again, this is the same city that we see in the episode 8 cold open. So keep that shot in mind. Or if you haven't like noticed that before, just go and compare the 2 shots of the cold open out the window in episode 8 with that, because it's the same city, which is a really cool feature. Some bits were cut from this scene, but I think it was better the way it turned out, to be honest. I didn't like the deleted scene that we did see.
That you are a part of us.
I hope you know how to swim. This allegory runs so deep. I have to like mention it. Obviously this whole process, she's fighting against it at the minute, but she eventually surrenders and learns to embrace it and just floats with the river, which is like the same way that she gets taught to channel by Moraine in the next episode. So you see an immediate parallel there. There is also a parallel to a storyline later on in book 7 that Nynaeve experiences, which I'm not going to go into massive detail, but I feel like they're going to call back to this based on some comments that Rafe made when that scene does come up eventually in the show. And yeah, this whole ritual really is just symbolic of opening yourself up to embrace the source of the female half of the power.
I remember when this
The
road
mountains
was
of
just
mist.
a little deer path winding down the mountain.
More wolves now.
Something's been pushing them down from the mountain.
Trollocs. I can't wait to see this, like, when they come back. There's Kongar there. To bien bien.
They said there's a war in Galen.
Wonder if we'll see that in
Who
episode
cares?
4.
It was Callie Copland told you that, wasn't it?
So,
She'd piss in your mouth and tell you it was raining.
Copland's and Kongar's famed for
Come on.
bullshit.
Let's play.
Noise all wild bears. To get the rounds in. Such an unnecessarily ominous entrance
Name
for
yourself,
that.
stranger.
Of course, Moraine Sedai.
Immediately people start shit talking. Nobody trusts Aes Sedai. But Matt's scoffing at her. He's just fully ready to whip out and start dipping people. Please don't blow up my common room, please.
I don't know.
Quiet. Who knows what she can hear?
This line is actually really relevant. I think later on in the episode, I'll point it out when it comes up, there's a point where the boys are all having a conversation and she's, I think, eavesdropping on them and watching through the window of the wine spring inn. So we'll point that out when it gets to it, but I think this line is like indicative of, because they haven't shown that she's eavesdropping in any other scene that I'm aware of, this line's here for a reason, and I think it's to show us that later on when she's watching them, she's actually listening to. She just wishes you didn't spend so much time looking at Gwen, dude. Maybe a file barrel in parallel there.
Is Mum sick again?
She's alright.
She's called Bud, not bitch.
Damn prick like him.
Absolutely. Also, fantastic actress. Really nice woman.
Rand, Egwene, why don't you two finish up the dishes?
Of course.
I also enjoy bashing my head on rocks. This is platonic. It's cultural in the Borderlands. Plus the Aes Sedai are often naked when they bathe in their like chambers or whatever. One wearing the customary Hadori of his people, given to the boy when they become a man.
Being in wisdom.
So to give a bit of clarification to those who like
No husband.
are just watching the show and confused by this,
No kids.
the powers that the Wisdom use and the Aes Sedai use are the same. It's just that the Wisdom basically untaught.
I
They
should get him to bed.
teach stuff like herbs and medicines and stuff like that, and how to nurse a wound or whatever. But they don't teach the channeling, the magic, access to the one power. It is the same power, they're just using it without realizing it. And the wisdom is not like a magical role, but like a village healer role. Not all of them can use the one power. Just the better ones, the ones who always manage to kill people. Everybody's favourite peddler, Padamafane. What a friendly guy. What a lovely big smile. Look at him shouting to the kids.
No sweet sticks for you!
The problem is that doing all their character building through the lens of this failing relationship doesn't actually build their characters, it only builds who they were up to this point and not who they're going to be. It doesn't actually tell us anything about their core traits, values, or whatnot, which is why a lot of people, I think, didn't really get as attached to the main cast as they did to people like Moraine and Nynaeve and Lan. Moraine is, of course, just digging for info to try and find out how old she is, to see if she's
whose parents passed.
the right age to be.
But no one can remember exactly when.
This is another case of an unreliable narrator, which is something Robert John did a lot in the books. You can never trust the information that's coming out of a character's mouth as true. Just that they think it's true. That doesn't mean they're right, because the Aes Sedai don't turn away people just for being peasants. They turn people away who can't obey and follow orders, who don't have enough power to learn, or a few other cases, you know, like people who, I don't know, do something wrong, like a crime, I guess.
Even if you have only had that
many novices would be committing crimes, but if they try and run away or whatever, you know. So this is Nynaeve being misinformed and thus misinforming the viewer. But as we see in the episode 6 cold open, Swan comes from a very poor background, a fisherman in Tyr, and she went on to be the Amalensi. So this is a bit of misinformation here, which is something that you always want to keep your eye out for in the Wheel of Time. I like what they did with the wind here, because it's something that happens a lot in the books, is that Nynaeve will like say that there's bad weather coming, but she doesn't mean actual weather, she means like, oh, there's a storm coming. Not an actual storm, though she feels it in the same way that she feels an actual storm coming. It'll be like a big bad event coming, like a minor kind of foretelling in a way. So I like how they interpreted that here. Of course, sheep being cut up into the dragon's fang. I don't know who pointed this out to me, but I have to point out the copy-pasted sheep here and here. Pretty much exactly the same. Yeah, good job, guys. Ah, this is the scene where she's listening into them.
Matt, we noticed your luck wasn't really with you.
And you notice how the audio starts before we actually switch to them.
Buy some lanterns for the girls.
We'll be alright.
Thank you. Alright, I should get out.
He's feeling guilty about rubbing down your nose.
Don't stay up mountain too long.
I won't.
Wondering where some sheep have gone, maybe? I really like their interpretation of Beltane as well, and
How long does it take
the way they
for the
spin
wheel
it in
of
these
time turns someone's spirit back into
threads
the
of
world
the
again?
overall world
Wish I
philosophy,
knew.
and
Not a heartbreak.
definitely they're going to call
Even
back to
death.
this later on. I'll just say Veins of Gold, no more.
The wheel keeps turning.
Spoiler territory.
Always. We try again? Maybe do a little better than the last time.
Nynaeve's so reluctant to show any vulnerable side that she sneaks off to do this alone. It's just really the core of her character right there. They characterize her really well in this episode. And Matt. The triangle, not so much. Get lit. Turn up, turn up, turn up. What? I was chilling in the village till the trolls came pillage. Yeah.
The Fade has Trollocs with it.
It's a real shame we didn't get to see a third fight. One thing I say about the show is that I have 100% faith in the team that's making it, in Rafe and the actors and all the writers and cast and stuff, crew. I have 0% faith in Amazon to market it or to allow them to do what they need to do to make the series thrive.
Tom, what's wrong?
He's dead. Dumbass. I love how they made you think it was like an hour or something and then nope. It's a huge fuck off, Alex. Not all suspicious. Worst parents in out. Matt's luck comes into play a bit here, which I really like, as he just stumbles over this Trolloc, and the Trolloc decides he's too busy eating to worry about dealing with Matt right now. The Modern Era Sheen soundtrack, whatever it's called, by One Valve, is just bringing that pressure with the drum beat from the Trollocs. Really amps up the whole scene, I think. The whole soundtrack by Lone Valve, incredible, and I can't wait to see what he does in Season 2. He's also just like a really friendly, phenomenal guy, interacting with fans on Twitter and stuff. Yeah, get that hair on that blade. It's like everyone noticed that symbol, but a lot of people who, you know, haven't read the books don't know what it means. A hair on that blade, they never even explain it in the season either, which is annoying. It's the symbol of a blade master, which sort of explains why he's able to do all this crazy shit. I mean, we see later in the season that he was a soldier. But not only was he a soldier, he was a very accomplished soldier, because it's not easy to get a hair on that blade. You have to like pass some trials in front of like multiple other blade masters who judge you, or you have to kill one and take their blade. So I assume he killed somebody and took it. Absolutely love this moment from 90 where she just screams back. Also known as Marine Goes Ham. Yeah, you tell him this. You tell him. You don't want to mess with you do not fuck with Two Rivers women. That's all I'm saying. You do not mess with them boys. They ain't playing around. They will use some pitchforks to kill a troll. She goes on too, though. I'm glad they at least let her be cool in combat before killing her off. Not like it just had a helpless. There goes the tree. And there goes Nynaeve. I will point out, if I have to talk about this scene, I will point out that that high-pitched noise comes in when he's going beast mode, so to speak. That high-pitched noise that signifies the wolves, that noise that only canines hear, happens every time Perrin's going engaging in his wolf brother side. So it's definitely something to listen out for, and you can hear it here for the first time, which shows he is actually having some sort of commune with the wolves even at this very early stage, and that he's going to link that at some point. It's going to make that link, and he's going to be scared of becoming the wolf because he knows what he can do when he becomes the wolf. I'll just rewind. Yeah, that's amazing. Boy, your mama. Just don't go inside the inn because it's about to come down. Well done, team, behind that scene. Rand realising his farm wasn't the only one who saw some of these creatures. I love how they used the colour grading here to just like dull everything out as well and show how dismal it is compared to the start where there's all the lush greenery in the background and the homely feel to it. A lot of people complain about the colour grading and the vibrancy on the show, but to me, I like it. It pops when it needs to, and now it feels gloomy and dark when it needs to.
My baby. Mom. My baby girl. Right. Oh, thank the light.
I hope they'll like fix their mistakes when we come back to them. I hope they use it as a chance to like have that family reform now that Matt's gone and realised that we need to look after the girls and, you know. You see how weak she is. She's shaking. Got one of those wounds herself. Rand's got a lot on his mind right now because the whole sequence that we don't see until episode 7 has actually happened
the next day.
to him.
They're here for the same reason as I am. For you.
There's a lot of angstiness in Rand in these early episodes that a lot of people complained about. And I think it was misplaced. People thought it was because of the whole Egwene thing, but really he's worrying that he's the Dragon Reborn and that his dad isn't his dad. And this is all the sort of stuff that like the book goes into in much more detail because he's the main and for most of it the only POV character. I mean, they disguise it here for the purpose of the old mystery box thing, which I don't think works, and I think that's okay. They did it and it didn't work, and we'll move past it now. And I guess we'll still sort of have a mystery box of who the Forsaken are. But you know.
The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend.
Every book begins like this, by the way.
And even myth is long forgotten when the age that gave it birth comes again.
Is like, it's a nostalgia hit for me, for a lot of fans of books. Just these words alone, like, send shivers through you because it's that feeling of opening a new Wheel of Time book, or opening a Wheel of Time book that you've read before. It's where chronic readers and rereaders and rereaders.
A wind rose in the mountains of mist.
It's just iconic.
The wind was
really glad they found a way to include it.
There are neither beginnings nor endings to the turning of the Wheel of Time. But it was a beginning.
And that's episode 1. Okay. Well, I don't think I had a lot to say about that episode because it was just sort of setting up the season, so there wasn't a lot of like tiny details that I could point out and stuff like that. I feel like as the season goes on there's going to be more and more stuff for me to point to and go, hey look, this is a cool thing that you might not have noticed. But as far as the first episode, yeah, really enjoying getting to watch this season again. Having an excuse to do it, and I'm planning to watch the second episode at some point. I'll probably edit this one first and put it out. Hopefully it's not too long of a video for you all. But if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to spank the like button for RJ and spank the subscribe button for the subscribe button because it likes it. It's a sub, you know, so you gotta spank it. It's a sub. And if you're new around here, yeah, follow the channel. We post a lot of content about the Wheel of Time board game that I designed, a whole myriad of other Wheel of Time and book related things. So make sure you do spank that sub button. And leave us a comment down below. Let me know what you really enjoyed, a tiny detail from this episode that you saw and thought was wow, like I can't believe they put that level of care and effort into this. And if you're a hater, leave a hate and comment if you want. I don't give a fuck, it's still interaction. I'll delete it, but it still counts as interaction. See you next time, guys. Tai'Shar.